In my last video, I talked about 2011 and how everything was going in the wrong direction. One of the reasons hustle didn't save me in that situation is not because I wasn't working hard at a number of different things. It had more to do with established patterns that weren't serving me, living a lifestyle that I couldn't fully support. Another thing, of course, was that I was too spread out. Now, I didn't really see any other alternatives at the time. I didn't have a better job to replace my 5 jobs. I didn't even have a better 2 jobs to replace my 5 jobs. Of course, I was also left with insufficient time to be able to keep looking for better opportunities as well. Another reason why the hustle didn't really work for me was because I was trying to do too much myself. I simply did not have the kind of support that I needed. If there were multiple minds working on this problem, if there were multiple bodies working on this problem, then maybe there could have been a way to solve it. Now, I did have friends helping me because one of my jobs was being a janitor at a church. And without their help, there's no way I could have cleaned that entire complex in a weekend. But all that really meant was either I'd have to take them out to lunch or pay them a little bit of money to be part of my team, something that didn't exactly support me in saving more money. But there are always expenses that go along with the hustle too. And sometimes we're not aware of what all those expenses are. There's invisible expenses. There are costs to doing things that way that you can't see because you're so busy. Mindset is certainly another big factor there. And that kind of goes back to the habits I was talking about earlier as well. But my mindset wasn't really to try to find a job, is to find a calling and a purpose and a passion. That's where my focus was. That's where my focus had been. So I hadn't been paying enough attention to practical needs and being more pragmatic about how to create the kind of life that I wanted. Virtually everyone who makes their dream a reality ultimately works a job at some point. It might not be for long, but virtually everyone who starts with nothing has that experience of working at a job, sometimes for months, sometimes for years, and sometimes much longer than that. But one thing I've learned about financial setbacks is that it puts you in a different mode. It almost bypasses a lot of your inhibitions. You begin to have conversations you wouldn't have. You start to do things you wouldn't normally do. You start texting people and messaging people and calling people, asking for things you wouldn't normally ask for. And there are seeds of lessons within that that can prove very valuable.